You alright, I'm Donald Michaels and I work for Rolling River Estates.
How long have you been an estate agent?
Well, as they say, man and boy. I got out of college because did sixth form in leisure and tourism, and I just didn't think it was for me, really, because to be honest, I've never been a holiday person. I like houses. I live in one with my mum and dad, and I just thought I'll go and give that a try. And I like showing people their futures. Do you know what I mean?
I can hear, I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up, the sounds of construction.
Yeah.
So these are new builds that you're selling right now?
Yeah, there's some of ours then. We want to be everywhere. That's our motto. Rolling River on Estates, we're everywhere.
You say you're everywhere, but where actually are you?
Well, we're in Kirby. There's actually three locations, but we are everywhere as well.
What is it about being an estate agent that you really love?
The banter with the lads in the office. It's like the 70s in there, not in a bad way, but like, you know what I mean. We just go in, we're drinking, we're bouncing off each other, bouncing off the walls. Lads' night every Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Thursdays, and every second Wednesday of the month. And it's just a boss laugh. And I go in the houses. There's often like these like young couples coming in, flirt with his missus. I have a little laugh with him, give him a high five, but keep flirting with his missus. They're sound with it. They know what they're in for. Do you know what I mean? They know what they're in for with our estates. That's what I love talking about. I love talking about baths. Sometimes I'll go on about a bath for like 45 minutes. I sell a lot of houses because I'm pushy. Sometimes I'll go in, I'll go, you want the house, you want the house, you want... I watch a lot of Paul McKenna. You want the house, 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 you want the house. And that has worked once or twice. Sometimes I just keep knocking the price down.
Could you try and sell me a house?
Absolutely. Okay, so what we've got here is a nice 2014 townhouse with a PVC door, which is all the rage. As you can see, the general vibe is cream. A lot of people don't realise when you own a house, you can do whatever you want with it. A lot of them have got them lecky carports on the front, and I say you don't need that, because that's a waste of time, and global warming's a myth. Yeah, a couple of times now, right, I've gone in off the books. I've gone in and I've just taken them out.
I was looking back through the records of some of the houses that you have sold, and one of the used houses was actually the house of serial killer Miles Krupp. What was that like?
Oh mate, well it was bad like to start with, because what they don't tell you is, like, the police do a very forensic sort of clean. They just get the stuff they want. They do the dusting. They dust for the blood and the prints, I guess. I watch a lot of CSI. What they do is they leave a lot of it as it is. So I was like, okay, I'm going to see this sort of nice sort of flat above a shop. Fella's been doing some murders. Go in, blood everywhere, absolute state. And what they don't say is we had to go in and do it. I never knew that when I became an estate agent. Storm's coming, like the end of Terminator 2, when she said, "You seen Terminator? You seen that film?"
I have, yes.
Storm's coming. Robots. Yeah. So yeah, loads of blood in there. And what they don't tell you is you've got to clean it. There was just blood. There was still blood everywhere, and lots of posters. He was really into like Only Fools and Horses and things like that, which I never thought like serial killers like watch the telly that much, because they were doing murders and that. But turns out like they're just, other than like the killing, they're fairly normal and a bit untidy. We tried our best to get rid of the blood, like, but a lot of it we just had to hide behind furniture and bits of like lino and things like that. Anyone in their right mind is going to say, if they come to a house where there's been a murder, is the ghosts. And I said, because I'm a skeptic, I'm a normal fella, clean cut, probably. seen that film 13 Ghosts? There's 13 of them there, so I think the chances of there being ghosts was probably quite high.
Now, the couple that did eventually buy the flat a year later sued the estate agency because it turned out that Miles Krupp had hidden body parts within the walls. The company had done surveys of the apartments. Hadn't that come up?
We did the best survey we could do given the circumstances. The police had come in. Do you know what I mean? They had a good look. And I remember the policeman on duty, he was a bit like one of us, he was one of the lads, you know what I mean? He just wanted to laugh at you. He was a sound lad, actually, Carl, his name was. He's gone now. But he said to us, you know, like, there's defo some stuff that's gone on with the walls there. He said, but between me and you, just ignore it. And apparently that's what the police do a lot. They just ignore a lot of things. So I was like, sound. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There was egg on my face. Because I sold the flat, didn't I? But I didn't do the survey, and I'm not a busy. But I mean, you know, that's what you get. It was a cheap house. It was like a 20k house. Now that's a cheap flat. Do you know what I mean? Like, occasionally, if that's the outright payment, right, and you've got a decent deposit behind you, occasionally you've got to be like, okay, is the dead bodies in the wall? He's loud, Minnie.
Bloody hell.
He's loud. They're shagging loads, and because there's no chips, they're yobs now.
So obviously, a lot of local celebs come to your estate agency. I'd love it if you could spill the beans on some of the houses that they've bought.
Alan Carr, you know, famously now lives in Bootle. He's a nice fella, do you know what I mean? He's all teeth, like, but he's a good laugh, like. Gary Oldman lived in Liverpool for 4 weeks. Not a lot of people know that. He lived in he lived in Prescott on Merseyside. It was alright, like, he's been tense.
You say live, but do you mean he just stayed there?
Both Gary Oldman and Alan Carr also sued the estate agency because part of your advertising was the fact that you'd sold to celebrities. But in the advertising, you included their actual addresses, so people were able to find them.
Yeah, I got into trouble because I said, you know, Gary's out, so I've got the spare. Come in, and we had a couple of tins in there, you know, and we chilled for a bit. Gary came home, as I say, he's intense, and he was, you know, he's banging on. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? He's from down south, wasn't he? I mean, that escalated quite badly, and I think then, like, that's when it kicked off with Alan Carr. We didn't mention, but Susie Quattro as well lives in Liverland. Sometimes I think I'm bigger than Roland River on estates.
Would you like to have your own estate agency?
Oh, yeah, Donny's digs. You could have a little swift one on the shift and all that sort of thing. Like, get you lubed up before you go into a house and you start, like, schmoozing.
Now, you have talked about banter, maybe having a few drinks, and earlier you alluded to part of your patter being to kind of flirt with maybe the wife or the female part of a couple buying a flat. That's got you in trouble before as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of times. I just take it too far sometimes, but the truth of the matter is, I'm lonely.